I am here with Catarina Rivera. She was recently in Ann Arbor to visit.
Hi everyone. Hola a todos. I'm Catarina Rivera. I'm a public speaker, DEIA consultant, and a content creator. My channel, Blindish Latina, is very active on Instagram and YouTube, where I share my accessible travel adventures. I am a deaf-blind person due to Usher syndrome, and I've embraced my disability as just a part of my identity and who I am. So I love to show the world that I'm living an amazing life. I'm traveling the world. And it was such an honor to partner with Destination Ann Arbor for a really amazing and fun trip.
We loved hosting you. What was your favorite part about your time in Ann Arbor?
I really love sustainable travel. And to me, one of the aspects of sustainable travel that is so important is supporting locally owned businesses. So the favorite part, like when I think about my favorite part, it was just visiting the small businesses in Ann Arbor and getting to know them, interacting with the people there. Everyone's so patient and nice. For example, one of the things I did was I went indoor rock climbing at Planet Rock, and I learned new rock climbing techniques, which was so fun because I actually learned something that I can use when I go indoor rock climbing in the future. I also loved our hotel room at the Graduate. It was really comfortable. And I think when you travel, sometimes you feel uncomfortable. You're away from home, you're away from the things that you know. And the room that we were in, it had two comfortable chairs, like one for me, one for my partner, and there was also a tea kettle in the room. And it was such a stylish one with a very like skinny spout, and I loved it because I'm drinking tea right now, so that's like part of my life. And that room is also really spacious and had a big window where we could see Ann Arbor, the beautiful trees every day. So I think I just had an incredible time, and I'm so glad that I could also be somewhere where I can just walk around and be independent and have that accessibility.
I love to hear that. I'm a big fan of The Graduate. I love all the little features that they have as a nod to the University of Michigan. I think it's a very fun theme, and it's good to know that it's also very functional. So beautiful and functional. Ann Arbor is really known for our many restaurants. What was your favorite meal that you had here?
Mm. I had very good meals in Ann Arbor, and it's very hard to choose. But I think my favorite one was my brunch at Avalon. I love anything that satisfies my cravings for Mexican food. And I got a dish there that was exactly that. It was like a crunchy kind of taquito potato thing with egg and pickled onions, and I added avocado on top, and it had a salsa that was very delicious. And that was my last meal. So it's kind of interesting. My last meal was the best one for me, but I truly love Mexican food, so it hit the spot.
Oh, I love to hear that. That's awesome. Um, if someone was going to ask you for your recommendation while visiting Ann Arbor, what three places would you tell them to experience?
It's my three favorite. I would start with Tea House. And this is because I'm such a big lover of tea. And I found Tea House to be extraordinary in the selection that they have. You go into Tea House, and on the right is a wall of loose leaf teas from around the world, like from the floor to the ceiling, it felt like. And immediately I go in there, it's organized by sections. I go into the green tea because that's my favorite. And I saw a South Korean sencha tea, which I have never heard of. Sencha is always associated with Japanese like tea, and it's the early like green tea. But I didn't know that South Korea even made a sencha tea. So that blew my mind. I tried it. It was very delicious. I also had their pistachio rose cake, which I would love like to have over and over again. It was so, so good. And everyone was very, very nice. Like they offered as well that I could have a second steeping of my tea. Like they are serious about tea, just like me. So I think that place is extraordinary. And then when I posted our first video together, someone commented that they no longer live in Ann Arbor, but they still order their tea from Tea House because it's that good. So that highly recommend. Second place that I recommend is the UM Museum of Art. I really, really love this museum, and I go to a lot of art museums, and I felt that they did such a good job of contextualizing the art, of giving you the history and also the critiques that could be had about how this art was obtained or presented. And I really appreciate that, especially when we talk about art that is from artists of color, or they had a whole section with art from Africa. And they were really, really good about giving you that complete kind of picture and critical thinking. The exhibit that I went to and spent the most time in was celebrating the Spelman College art collection. And it was so beautiful and so many different artists and styles. And I really loved that. I just love seeing that there are artists of color that are being supported, that are being amplified, and their work is amazing. So that is really my favorite museum. And then the last day, if you're going to Ann Arbor, I think you really have to visit the farmers market and walk around and go to Kerrytown shops. The shopping has something for everyone. My favorite booth at the farmers market was Taste of Petra, where I tried olive oil, satar, talking to the vendor. He was super friendly, and it's family owned business. So I actually yesterday made a roasted broccoli with my mom with the satar from Taste of Petra. It was delicious. There are, other so many like kinds of shops at Kerrytown. You can buy food, you can buy home goods, you can buy tea and spices, you can go to a thrift store or like vintage. I think I'm not remembering if it was thrift or vintage, maybe both. But yeah, really fun shopping.
Ah, that's great. Those are great recommendations. I need to go to Tea House and try that pistachio rose cake. That sounds amazing.
Yes.
Um, so we are working with Wheel the World. We're actually going to be the first destination in Michigan to be certified by Wheel the World. And they help identify accessible places and improvements that we can make. What did you find the most welcoming as a visitor with disabilities?
I think it's so exciting you're working with them and you're focusing on accessibility. So kudos, kudos. In terms of my experience with Ann Arbor, every disabled person is different in their experience, but we do share a lot of things that can benefit all of us. So I use a white cane and I have a limited visual field. And I also wear hearing aids. So when I go to places, I'm looking for an environment where I can hear and understand. And the restaurants on the whole were quiet and not overly loud to the point that I couldn't hear conversations. I had a lot of meals that were very comfortable. So that's a great thing for accessibility in terms of getting around. The sidewalks in general were wide and well maintained. There were signals for crossing the street. Most places there were crosswalks, and I felt like there was just a calm pace for the pedestrians, like walking around. When I lived in New York City, I would have to expend a lot of energy to navigate and just have my place on the sidewalk sometimes. And I didn't realize how much energy that took for me. So going somewhere like Ann Arbor, I just thought, oh, this is easy. No one's cutting me off. I'm just walking around, exploring. So I appreciated that. And then there were little things that I think institutions are working on. For example, the exhibit at the Museum of Art had a large text booklet, which I appreciated. They're working on increasing their accessibility. So I think the more that businesses learn and can bring that into what they're doing, the better it will be. But I think the built environment and the sidewalk is the beginning point, and that's a very strong beginning point. So I'm very excited that that was what I experienced. The other thing that is about that's important for accessibility is patience. And it's not something that you might think about with accessibility. You think, oh, it's like something that I do in the digital space or in the physical space, but it's also how you treat each other and the care that you provide. So there are times that I have to ask people to repeat themselves, or I don't quite know which table is the most accessible for me at a restaurant because I have light sensitivity and I cannot sit where the sun would be in my eyes, but I need the light to be on my partner's face. So I sometimes have to consider for a few minutes where can we sit? And the people that I interacted with at the restaurants and the cafes were very patient. And that was a big, big plus, that welcoming kind of service.
Oh, that's great to hear. I'm really happy that you had a good experience getting around and with the community members that helped you out. Um, I just have one more question for you, and I'm really happy that you were able to sit down with me and talk about your trip. But what is one thing that you missed or can't wait to do again the next time you're in Ann Arbor?
Hmm. Well, if you might already guess what I'm going to say, but it's definitely going to be if I can go to Ann Arbor again, what can't I wait to do? It's just going back to tea house. Like, I just want to sit there all day, order different teas, and just tell them I want to try new things and have that pistachio rose cake again because it was so delicious and it's very stylish. If you look at the video that we posted on Instagram, you will see just a stunning cake with like a green little hue in the side where it's cut, and it's so stylish and delicious.
Aesthetic and delicious is fantastic. And that sounds like a great day. Just sitting there, trying different teas, eating some cake, and watching the world go by. Sounds very
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah, it was a great vibe in there, good energy, people with their friends, people studying. I really enjoyed just hanging out there in the afternoon.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and talking about your trip to Ann Arbor. For those of you watching, I will link Catarina's full itinerary in the description box so you can follow along with what she did. And also make sure to visit her channels and her website and her YouTube channel, which I will also link, and you can see the different experiences that she had here. Catarina, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time you're in Ann Arbor.
I love that. Thank you so much, Christine.
Thank you.